Last week on Written Off, our 11 students travelled into the Wicklow Wilds on a journey that could open a new chapter in their lives.
Just me and my dad and get on. Sorry to say, I ended up being homeless over it.
They've all decided to make a fresh start and are taking part in a unique learning programme.
This promises to be an exciting journey for each one of us. There will be times ahead where it will be difficult.
Biggest reason why people don't actually try to fulfil their goal, do you know what it is? The fear of people turning around and saying, you know what, you're stupid.
If the 11 thought that life was going to be easy after weekend one, they soon realised it wouldn't be plain sailing.
I was getting a taxi home at 4 o'clock this morning. I am very serious. That's the type of a person I am. I'm not coming down here again.
Rose don't
No, I'm not.
With the drama of last weekend still fresh in their minds, many of the 11 were unsure about returning to Capure. But as the bus pulls up, one by one they get on board. But the question remains, will Rose appear?
Rose is a woman that can speak her mind. Like, she's real straightforward, tell you there and then. She's the sort of person that does change her mind at the last minute. Like, she's probably saying, oh no, I'm not going back down there. Like, I was upset over the last weekend and I wasn't enjoying myself. But you never know, at the day that we go down, she might change her mind and say, I'm going to do this.
Rose decides to give the course a second chance. But this time, it's not just for her niece Stacey.
When I went down last week, it wasn't really for myself. But this time, it's for both of us. I was observing her all the time without her actually knowing, to make sure that she was all right, but she was great at integrating. So that kind of gave me the thing to drive as well, to go back. But I'm going back for myself as well. I just feel that you actually don't know what Rose is going to come out with anyway.
She's a character, definitely.
She's a character in herself.
There's only one Molly Malone, but there's definitely only one Rose Lynch. You know? and she learned to evolve that way. That was a defence for Rose. There's nothing wrong with me, I do nothing wrong. So you get that out of Rose, you know. She has to express herself in her body, in her face and manner and her words. But there's a lot of things she says she doesn't mean. It's just that she's thought more about it than the average human being.
I got a great buzz out of it. I thought the teachers was brilliant. And I did learn something from the classroom. I learned how to spell my address, for instance. Do you know what I mean? Where I wasn't able to do that when I went down. So that's a start for me.
As the group prepares for their second weekend, the air still needs to be cleared.
Last weekend didn't run 100% smoothly, okay? Some things were good, but there were other things that didn't go 100%. And that could be personality clashes, you're in a different environment, you're staying here, you're not only in the classroom together, you're living together, you're eating together. So on these sheets, write down how this weekend can be more positive than last weekend. Some ideas. Teamwork, respect, that kind of stuff, okay.
Kathleen and Bobby revisit the group contracts drawn up by all 11 in the first weekend. The group must agree on how to work together in order to continue.
Be positive, brilliant, okay.
The tutors stress the importance of persistence and giving people a second chance.
Throughout the weekend, no matter what happens, everybody deserves a second chance. Sometimes people deserve 3, 4 chances. And for the 8 weeks to work, you will make them work as a group.
The theme of this weekend is memory,
And I suppose it fits in very well with this 8 weeks. Sometimes people returning to adult education would feel they have a very poor memory. They can't remember spellings, they can't remember words. And what we'll be focusing on this weekend is looking at how they've remembered other things. For example, they've learned how to drive, maybe they've learned a musical instrument, they are very good at cooking. So they do in fact have a very good memory. It's just they've never been given the techniques in the first place.
Andrew has always had severe memory problems. He spent last weekend living and learning with the rest of the group, but now 1 week later he struggles to remember any of their names.
We all have some kind of fault in our literacy. And when you put people at different ages and how they're different we are and different learning techniques, and it's the experience that and hoping that you can pick up something, because we all learn from everybody. What's the woman from Cork and Kinsale? Who? Norma. I got on well with Norma. She's lovely. She came across lovely person. Joan from Kerry, is it Joan? Jane from Kerry. Keith is it from Cork with the Ronnie. And just today now I'm just getting his one. Caroline, my poor Caroline, what about her? She's just brilliant, you know. Where she's come just in the weekend and herself, wow, you know. She's just going to shine on this, so I can just see her happy days. Rose. Rose. Who's Rose? Which one is Rose? Oh, the wee little mad one. What can I say? She's a feisty woman, all right. Characters, see, there's characters all across the road, you know, all across the board, and it's just going to be amazing. And no doubt I'll probably throw a wobbly as well, and that's going to be great when I do.
Every weekend, the group share an evening meal in the company of someone who has managed to overcome their own literacy difficulties. This weekend, they're joined by the author Don Mullen.
Don Mullen is a journalist and author. Don also has dyslexia, and one of the guys here, Andrew, has dyslexia, so I'm sure Andrew's going to be very interested in talking to Don tonight.
I remember we had one particular teacher who took us, and we had him only for 3 weeks, but the impact that that man had in my life lasted for 30 years. He called out a list one day of all the lads that he considered were capable of actually passing the exam. But legally, all children had the right to sit this exam, so he read out the list, and my name wasn't on it. And he then asked the question, is there anybody's name who's not on the list but still wants to sit this exam? And I put my hand up. And I always remember, he looked at me, and loud enough for me and all the other members of the class to hear, he went, you've no chance. And I remember the class all burst into laughter. But that voice was in my head for 30 years. And it caused me to doubt my intellectual capabilities all through life. And then at the age of 38, I discover that I'm dyslexic.
These are way before my time, all black and white one. A few of Italy there, they have kind of little festivals. They take the statue of the Blessed Mary, and they leave them up in the mountains for a couple of days and have mass and little festival, and you run around with bangers and fireworks. Wow. I'm Irish, anyhow, for starters. My mother came over. She's just shortly after the war from Monte Cassino. She went working in Capel Street for Shardy's Chippers. At that time, my father was from Rafarnham. He owned a bicycle shop in Capel Street. He met my mother. They moved down to Newbridge. I was only a wee baby growler, little grasshopper. But Dad passed away when I was about 10. You know, so when it came to me learning, I never actually had somebody tutoring me, sitting me down to help me with my homework. So it was a quick scribble, close the book, out the door, and away playing.
Next one is number 28. It is rough. The table has a rough surface. Rough.
I'd never actually heard the word dyslexic in my child days. It was either dumb or stupid.
Careless mistakes can cause accidents.
But I knew I wasn't, you know. It was a slow class I was put in. And for a child of my age to be put in a slow class, and you see all your friends moving on the year, and there's no will then, you know. You just have no interest in learning. When it comes to words and reading and understanding, it would actually take longer for my brain to process an actual word, whereas people would probably scan it, oh yeah, right, that's grand. Where my brain would have a tendency to play with the letters. Oh yeah, that looks funny, yeah. Oh, my little man. What can I say about him? I couldn't believe at such a young age he was buying Harry Potter books. And I found it, wow, what's going on here? A kid at 10 years of age. So that's kind of when I said at 40, I'm going to go back to school. That was for me, look, my son's 10. I'm going to go, I want to learn how to read a book as well. I won't say I ever felt ashamed. I might have been upset, all right. Life gives you a deal of cards. You know, unfortunately, this is the card I have. You know, I don't see anything as problems. They're all solutions. It's just finding the solution is the problem.
Often referred to as a Gary by the Allies.
You know, as I mentioned earlier, like, reading still is a difficulty with me, and I can't explain it, but when I look at the page, I can only read one word at a time. I can't see what's the left or what's the right.
Everything he said, just every single thing he said, I could relate to. Like I was saying, that's my lifestyle. Well, he's just starting saying, he's talking about my life, but he wasn't even talking about his own. He's the first bloke I ever listened to and actually sat there and listened to him and be quiet.
It's kind of almost like our brains work in a different way. That's all it is. Like, whereas some people might go from A to B, it might take us to go from A to C to B, but we'll get there.
It was the first time I knew about this dyslexics or dialysis, whatever it's called. But I never even knew it was a sickness. It should be well known that people suffer from it. I didn't know it there, that's what I said. Now I know it.